Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host, Dean.
And joining us today is the man that achieved a huge feat. We have Steve Barton, producer of Terrifier 2, Algoria, Never Sleep Again documentary, and more. So let's dive into the Terrifier-Verse together. Steve, how you been?
Hey man, I haven't jumped into the Terrifier-Verse in a little while. This is all new to me. Uh, yeah, man, it's been a crazy time. Thank you for having me on. Sorry it took so long.
No, man, it's all good. Like everybody's got to, get a little piece of everything, and you need your rest too. Like you're doing all these crazy things. You're doing Q and A, doing other podcasts. You're going to screenings, a bunch of stuff. You deserve some rest, man. So happy New Year and everything, and to a very very healthy and successful year to everybody.
Amen. Thank you,
Oh
and
yeah.
likewise. It's been 2022 ended up being one of the best years of my life, and it was just unexpected. I mean, you live. I mean, being in this, I've been in this business 27 years now.
Wow.
And it's a really long fucking time, and I'm a
Yeah.
dinosaur. And but I'm still here, right? And
Mm.
it felt really good to finally feel like you've done something that mattered or you did something right. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've done things that I'm so proud of, but I never was able to really find success until this movie really came out and did what no one, including especially us, expected to do.
Dean, I don't know if you have any questions that you want to throw first.
Yeah, man. So I mean, we're over here in the UK. We are. I was a big fan of the first Terrifier movie when it first
Same.
came out. The whole Art the Clown character was fucking awesome. Um, and when I knew the sort of crowdfunding was going ahead and there was a Terrifier 2 being made, when it came out, when I finally got to see it, I was like, that's a fucking horror movie, man. That's how you make a horror movie. And then,
Right?
you guys got it onto the big screen, and it was just success after success. What were some of the challenges of getting it onto the big screen? Like, what was the kind of process? How did you go about it? And then the success that followed, just week after week, you kind of kept getting renewed. And
Yeah.
Did you see it at Fright Fest?
do you know what?
You almost
A
did.
lot of friends of mine did see it at Fright Fest. So I worked for the Love of Horror convention in Manchester, with some of the guys who went along to see it there. Unfortunately, I was working somewhere else. And then we decided, right, we're going to take, do you know what? We're going to take the day off and we're actually going to go and see if there's any tickets left and we're going to go and watch it. And when there were tickets right up to this point, and me and my partner were like, right, let's get some tickets. We went online. Fuck, they're all sold out. So no, 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 no. Right at the very last minute, when we finally decided we were going to ditch what we were doing to go and see it, we missed out. That our bad. But
Well,
yeah, man,
I'm glad you got
unfortunately
to.
not.
I'm glad you got to see it. It was it's funny. During the process of making the movie, the attitude was like, go as far as you want. This ain't ever going to play in a theater, right? And uh,
It did.
Yeah.
and you know how most like you would imagine like a filmmaker, getting told that that a studio or whomever wants to put their movie in a theater, you would think that it would be elation and joy on the part of the filmmaker. For us, it was just kind of flat out confusion. We were like, oh, okay, like, did you watch this movie before?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and we were only supposed to get October 6th, 7th, and 8th. Some theaters had us on the night.
Yeah.
And we thought that was it. You know, us, just like the rest of the fans, we didn't find out what was going on until the Monday
Yeah.
came, the Monday after release. We never knew if we were going to get even one more day. But the movie made over $1 million in 3 days in just
Wow.
850 theaters. And that doesn't sound like much, but when you consider that the budget was 250,000 for
Yeah.
it, that's a lot of money to make in just 3 days in limited showings, only playing maybe once or at most twice a day at
Mm.
850 theaters. So we thought that was like hitting lotto, dude. We
Yeah.
were just like, yes, we did it. We cried, we fucking celebrated. We were just dumbfounded that this even happened. And
Yeah.
then the distributor was like, well, I think we want to put you on for a second week. And I'm like, okay, that's good. That's cool. Anything at this point is gravy, right?
Yeah.
So week two comes, and now we're in 300 less theaters because AMC didn't sign on. AMC is a theater chain here
Yeah.
in the UK. But
No. Mm.
so they dropped out because they didn't see this coming. But the theaters who did see it were like, oh, well, we need to have this again. And then on week two, we ended up making more money in 350 less theaters than we did in week one.
Wow.
And we were just like, holy shit, really?
Crazy.
And that was when, like, the proverbial pedal hit the metal. It was in the middle of week two where shit really started popping off, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it was everywhere. And we were just like, is this really happening? I mean, they were talking about it on Howard Stern. They were
Oh yeah,
talking
that
about
was crazy.
shows. They were talking about it. It was name dropped on WWE Raw. It hit right in the middle of that zeitgeist, and it blew things up. And then shit started happening. Like people were passing out, and
Oh
people
yeah.
were blowing up, and
Yeah.
it's funny. It's a lot of people think that was a marketing thing. We weren't smart enough to think of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
It
was The
wasn't.
Exorcist, but from modern days, and it was actually organic and actually happening.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's part of the thing I attribute the success to, and in that it was organic. A lot of filmmakers and a lot of studios nowadays, they all think that they have the next midnight movie or the next horror icon, but it's not up to you to decide that. It's
Not
up to
Yeah.
yet.
the fans. The fans have to make that happen. They have to bestow that honor. It has to happen organically, or it's not going to happen at all.
Yeah.
And we'll never call Art the Clown a horror icon. We think maybe he's on his way, but for us, that's not something we can say, and it's not something a title we could give. And then more and more people just kept showing up and showing up, and then the people who showed up again and again,
Yep.
and there were memes everywhere. The thing with the sunglasses, the daisy glasses was
Yeah.
That was so good.
you
Yeah.
know and I think that the reason for its success, or at least a big part of its success, is the whole world has just been through so much shit the last few years, that
Mhm.
and movie theaters, they almost went completely out. Business during COVID.
Yeah.
I think they were more open to trying something new, and trying a new delivery method to see if it would work, and it fucking did.
Yeah.
And I think just crowds in general, I think we were just ready to have a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it opening day. I live in the U.S., so I saw it when it opened, and then I saw it again same weekend because I wanted to see how the crowds were,
Right.
and then I saw it the second weekend that it was renewed, and it was crazy. The theater was fuller. I did witness one person faint and two families walk out. I did witness that.
Fuck out of here. Really?
Yes, I did. Um, oh my god, my camera's acting up, but that's okay. So I witnessed that, and then All my friends, I sent a couple of my friends over to go and watch it too, and they're like, "This is the craziest movie I have ever seen. Why did you send me here?" And they enjoyed the hell out of it. So actually being able to kind of witness some of the
Tell me,
phenomenon that was
tell me
going
about
on
that,
was
dude.
great.
You're one of like maybe 3 people I know of that actually witnessed this. Tell me about that. What happened?
Yeah, so I was in like the middle row. I was always try to sit in the middle whenever I watch films because I feel like you get a better view there. And I had one guy maybe 3 seats away from me. This was the second weekend, so it was the third time I've seen the film. And he was eating his popcorn, and then I hear his bag drop, and then he's just sitting backward. And he comes to like maybe 5 minutes later. I was gonna say something, but I'm like, I'm just gonna because at first I thought he was sleeping. I was like, oh, he was just bored. But then I was like, but why would his popcorn fall or whatever it was? And then he woke up, and then he was like looking around. And I was trying trying not to look at him, and then he just carried on with the film, and it happened during the alley scene, and then that's when I witnessed the families walk out too. I think they realized, they were like, yeah, this is not for my kids.
Well, it's funny. It was the Wild West for the first couple of weeks, the movie was not NC-17.
Yeah.
The movie had no rating whatsoever because we didn't show it to the MPA,
Yeah.
And so theaters really didn't have any protocol in place. I mean, technically speaking, you could have been 13 years old and gone to the movie theater and said, I want a ticket for Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that said they couldn't do that,
Wow.
It really was just the Wild West for like the first couple of weeks. And then as the hype and the content started getting out there, that's when theaters were like, okay, we're treating this like we would any other R-rated movie. And you listen, I love to hear stories about people fainting or growing up. Obviously, we didn't want anyone to get hurt or
Yeah,
anything
exactly.
like that. But it's just, I don't know. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because people were just so used to seeing CG gore that when you had people
Quite
just
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was because the way that some of it's made, and with Damien's like brilliant like makeup design and doing all the special effects and how realistic it was and how raw everything is. You're so used to seeing these budget films that having so much gloss over everything, right? And I think what really gets people is the sound design mixed in with how brutal everything is. And that's what I love about it. This movie, it is brutal, but it also has a beauty. And that's what I really like about this film, is that it's so beautiful, violent, that it blends so well. And I think when you get a little used to how some of the scenes are, and you get to see like the alley scene, or
It's just relentless, isn't it? That scene,
yeah,
the
and
kill
and you get the
relentless.
head with the candy. It's like you weren't really prepared, because obviously you saw the first Terrifier, like, okay, so I witnessed
you knew
somebody
you were
get
getting
sawed in half. So it's like, oh, that's the worst it can get, right? And then when we had David on the show a couple of times, and I had him on earlier last year, and he was kind of hinting like, dude, there's a scene in this movie that's way worse than getting sawed in half. I'm like, nah, you're bullshitting. Like, there's absolutely no way that that's possible. Went to go see the film, and I'm like, you were right. You were right. It was crazy, and that was where I saw everybody walk out or faint. And it really is because you're so used to so much gloss over everything, or people cutting away and not seeing every single detail. Damien wants you to see this. He wants you to feel how this person's feeling. You don't want to, sympathize with art at all. You don't want to, but he does in a way. He makes you feel like that, but you're also feeling for the person who's being tortured. And that's what I love about the Terrifier series, especially Terrifier 2, but just how much further he went. And I cannot wait for Terrifier 3 to see more people faint. I really can.
It's really funny. You know that the alley scene was based on an actual murder, right?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well, you should know that because it was one of Jack the Ripper's final victims.
yeah. I think
Uh,
when I was talking to Damien and
Okay.
I had David on, I think they're the ones that told me about that, and I actually looked it up later. So
and there's a very famous picture of one of his victims who it's so messy and so
Oh, yeah, I know. Catherine Eddowes, is it the Catherine Eddowes one?
yes, yes. And Damien basically reverse engineered that kill. Like so you could see how we got to that point, you know? And yeah, because dude, what reality is way scarier than anything we could cook up, you know?
yeah,
But you know, to think that somebody actually did pretty much that to somebody is just insane. You know, did the people who faint or walked out at least make it to the bleach scene?
um,
Because that's my favorite part
I'm
of the
trying
movie.
to remember. I don't think so. I think it was as soon as he started scalping is when they were like, "I'm done. I'm done."
Yeah, I hear it. I get it. But when he came back with the
It's so
bleach,
funny. I'm sorry.
I think what makes these movies a little bit different than say films that are as violent, like maybe the Hostel movies or Saw or things like that. I think that those movies, their gore is handled a lot more seriously,
Yeah,
you know, whereas Art is clearly having fun. And even though he's despicable and he's evil fucking incarnate,
yeah,
you're having fun with him. And I think our kills go so far, like 70 steps too far, that they become sort of fun.
yeah,
You know, as mean spirited as they are, it's kind of like a car wreck. You can't turn away. You know, you're just watching, and that's a real testament to David. His acting as Art the Clown is just it's insane. As soon as he gets that makeup on, he is a completely different person, you know?
Hmm.
Even if you see him at a show, at a convention in makeup, as soon as that makeup is on and that little top hat goes on, he doesn't speak anymore. He just he is Art the Clown, and that's the way he stays until the makeup comes off. And I think that's another thing that fans just love about him because when they do see him, you know what is mind blowing to me is the amount of kids that adore him.
yeah,
You know, like even when he's dressed up like Art the Clown, the kids just flock to him. Like it's almost like some sort of weird Freddy Krueger kind of thing where kids love
Yeah.
Freddy. You know, it's really it's cool to see. It's utterly disturbing, I guess.
yeah.
But you know, who knew? The whole this whole ride has just been one who knew question after the other for us, and we're so pleased, you know.
Yeah, and it's still really strong. People still talking about Terrifier 2 and sharing pictures and more memes and whatnot. I mean, you got an awesome like DVD and Blu-ray releases and everything. You got awesome like merchandise going on. It's awesome, and I'm happy to see it and to also know that Terrifier 2 really helped pave the way for these other small indie films going into theaters. Like there was a lot that happened with this little film that could. And it's awesome to see and knowing that 2023 is year for indie horror. I know it because you got what Outwaters coming out. We have Skinamarink that is out right now, and I'm sure there's some other ones that are probably going to be making it to theaters. But like, how is it, feeling that you had some sort of a part in getting that to fruition?
Um, that is start. My nose is all sorts of stuff. So sorry.
It's okay.
Like I have seasonal allergies that will not fucking go away. You know, if we had to pick one thing that we're happiest about, it would be that. And even if it was any horror film that did it, not even Terrifier 2, if it was any horror film that did this, we would be ecstatic because it does open the doors, or at least it can open the doors to theaters to be a lot more friendly to lower budget features, to younger directors, to directors who have, these movies that unfortunately end up going either straight to VOD or some of them even just end up on YouTube, you know? and no one ever sees them unless they're looking for them. So the fact that this movie it did a lot of strange things. It kind of negated the MPA completely. Uh, it proved that you don't need a $20 million budget to have a blockbuster, you know. And I think more than anything, it scared, and it probably still scares the fuck out of Hollywood. And I think the reason why it scares Hollywood is, speaking as somebody who's been in the business for so long, Hollywood's a replication machine. They see what works, and then they give you 10 more of it. And you can't do that with this. This was, there's never, just to put some fears to rest, there's never going to be a scenario where Terrifier 3 ends up being a studio film. Okay. No studio would with any brains would touch it, even though they should. Okay. But they're not going to want to take the chances that Cinedigm and Bloody Disgusting took, you know. And I understand that. I completely get it. And now that we've had some success, a lot of people are like, oh, what are you going to do for 3? Is it going to be a bigger budget? Is it going to be this? It's going to be that. It's going to be Terrifier 3.
Yes.
That's what it needs to be. Same crew, same kind of mentality behind it. We made Terrifier 2 as a thank you to the fans who made Terrifier 1 as big of a success that it was. And it was successful for a little film, before we knew it, people were making their own shit. They were making t-shirts, they were making this, they were making that, they were getting tattoos. And this is just on the strength of this one little movie, And that was really special to us. So when it came to Terrifier 2, we wanted to give the fans back something that was as special. And when it comes to Terrifier 3, we owe you guys a lot,
I can't wait.
I'll wait.
We're really cognizant of that, because this would never have happened if everybody out there didn't do their part. And they did so willingly and without being prompted. There was no call to arms. There was no marketing campaign whatsoever. There was no money for a marketing campaign. This was all us and you guys. And I think that's why people have responded to it. I mean, you have an Art Crispy's box on your table.
Oh yeah, I do.
It really belongs to you. This is your movie. This is the fans' franchise. You know what I mean? It's made specifically for the fans. We knew that we had a chance of picking up some other viewers who probably wouldn't have been a fan of the first one. At least we hoped.
Yeah.
And, I think what makes this movie as special as it was is the fans and the way everyone reacted to it and the way that you guys all support it. It's a gift to us. A lot of people say thank you for making this and that. Thank you for watching it, man. Thank you for loving it, and thank you for letting our weird fucking little movie become a part of your life. It's this has been, without question, the most humbling experience for all of us. And I said it 100 times. You guys weren't just on the ride with us, man. You're in the car. This was us all together. And I don't think you're ever going to see another filmmaking community that's as in touch with its fan base as we are. We comment on everything. We read everything. Where even if somebody says our movie sucks, we're just grateful you took the time to watch it. I mean, and it's just been, everything about this has been special, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and it's been a blast, seeing everything that's been coming out of it, and also the horror community support with everything too, and seeing how happy they are to see films like this being made, and knowing that it's giving chances to other people to be a little bit more creative, to be pushing boundaries, because this movie, it pushed every boundary, every single one that you could think of. It pushed it.
Really did.
Um, whether it be with the theater, whether it be with new ways of doing filmmaking or writing and doing special effects that Damien was doing and doing it all himself, which is so unheard of. You never hear somebody who is directing and writing doing all the special effects and making sure every scene is correct and going so far and pushing boundaries. And I'm sure being the producer, there was a lot of challenges on that scope as well, and it paid off so well. And I'm really happy to have seen a film like this and to know there's a film like this out there and that people love it. Yeah, there are people who hate it, but that happens with everything. And you know what? The hate's fine. You're still giving attention to this amazing piece of art, and I want more. I'm very, very thirsty for more, and I can't wait.
Hell yeah.
I really, really can't.
We Damien is a genius, and I don't throw that term around lightly. He is somebody with a very clear vision of what he wants to do and where he wants the story to go. And I think we've already decided that this isn't like something we're going to run into the ground. Like, you're not going to get movies with art in Hawaii or art in space. When Damien is done telling his story, Damien is done telling his story. And whether that be 3 movies or 4 movies or 6 movies, we don't know what that's going to be. And we don't know what it's going to look like. But I do know that I know the direction we're going to take for 3, and it's fucking insanity.
I can't
wait. We can't wait, man. We're just we don't want to rush it because we could, and people are obviously like, we need 3 now,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that and we appreciate that, but we'll see what happens when a movie ends up getting yearly entries. It's not
Exactly.
a patient. So we want to let this breathe. We want to do it the right way with the same people, the same mindset, the same vision. And if you think what you saw in 2 was crazy, just wait, because there's gonna be holy shit.
Hell yeah.
I'll let you throw a couple questions.
Yeah, man. I was just wanted to quickly touch back on you talking about the alley scene, and so I was lucky. So we didn't get any showings at the cinema over here, but I got to see it before a lot of people in the UK because Screenbox sent us some screeners through the movie, and I love the first one, and I couldn't wait to sit down and watch it. And it was like a couple of hours long, just over a couple of hours, right? I think didn't feel like it. It
It
didn't.
was 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
2018, right? It didn't feel like that, man. It was that. That's how you know a really good movie when it doesn't feel as long as it is. You watch it and it just like, wow, it kind of went by so quickly. Every single shot, every single scene was just badass. And the music, the soundtrack, the different characters, the kills. But I remember Dustin saying to me, because he'd seen it before me, and he was like, when you get to this particular scene, FaceTime me because I want to see your reaction. And it was
Yeah.
the alley scene. Yeah, so I just kind of had a camera up over here and I was like, okay, what? Like this one? He's like, yeah, yeah. So I started watching it and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it was so good. It was
And then
so
it just
good.
kept going. I was like, whoa, oh my God. And then my partner kind of peered her head around the corner and she's like, what the F is going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was absolutely awesome. So yeah, that was fantastic. Going back to you mentioned merch earlier on, the Art Krispies box. There's been a lot of kind of cool merch for Terrifier too. How do you guys kind of commission that? Do you get a lot of submissions? Do you get a lot? I know a few of the artists who have designed some t-shirts, like I know Sam Hain, 92. I know Evil Eye have just done a really cool print. So they're all good friends of mine from over here on the circuit in the UK. But yeah, do you kind of get a lot of different ideas sent to you about
We
merch,
do. We
hot
do.
sauce?
We do. It's been really hard, to be honest with
Yeah,
you. Listen, we don't want people to get bad quality stuff. So
yeah,
one of the considerations that we make. I mean, if you look at the Art Krispies box, that's very heavy cardboard. That shit ain't going nowhere for quite some time.
Yeah.
It has to be a really good idea. And also, one of the things we're running into is a lot of people are just making their own products and selling them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's both a delight and a problem,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because listen, we're still very small fish in a great big pond. So while we appreciate people making stuff and selling them, it'd be really cool if they were to contact us and say, hey, can we officially license this? And that's all they really have to do. So people have contacted us. We're in the middle of revamping the entire merch side of things. So things are going a little bit slower. It is a slow process, unfortunately, because there's a lot of legalese and a lot of
Yeah.
this, that. So, and plus, a lot of people are making stuff that we make in
Yeah.
house. You know, so it's like, where do you draw the line? Where do you dilute what you're doing and let other people? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure.
this has been a real monster to wrap our heads around, and it's a great problem to have. And I
Yeah.
know people are excited, and I know people want to do this and that. We've yet to get in touch with several people who came to some really good ideas, just because we're still in the middle of getting all the paperwork done and everything
Yeah.
else. While we're ready to move, that doesn't mean anyone else who has to actually draw up the paperwork is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been taking a lot longer than we'd like, but hopefully within a few weeks we'll be able to get where we want to be, and then it's on, man. People have a great idea, come to us, let us know. We'll be happy to work with you and do something. It's just right now, I mean, to be honest with you, we knew we made a good movie. We were confident that we made a good movie, but we didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody could have been prepared for this. In a perfect world, we could have had the foresight to know what was happening, put a incredible marketing merch machine in place, but
Yeah.
we just didn't see this success, and we're so thankful for it. But just like anything else, you have to take some time to wrap your head around it and make sure it's done the right way. And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's a little bit of time, and
Yeah.
we're just trying to, as we did everything else with this franchise, we're trying to do everything the right way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a way where we're not, you know, like charging people exorbitant amounts of money for things. You know what I mean? Because some people have come
Yeah.
to us with these crazy high market things, and I'm like, I don't think we want to do that to the fans. We want to keep things affordable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just been another facet that we're lucky to be. It's another great problem to have. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I sent you I don't know if you remember, I sent you across my hot sauce idea, the Terrifier hot sauce.
Yes, that was you.
That was
Yeah.
me, man.
Okay, we have been talking about that actually.
Yeah, that
Oh
that was
yeah.
my one. But
I'm a
yeah,
hot, I'm a hot sauce aficionado. I'm all
I remember you saying, yeah, I remember you saying, man, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've done a lot of, we can chat about that later. But yeah, I've done a lot of different like horror themed hot sauces, and I started off doing kind of puns on movies, and I kind of run into a few IP problems. It's one especially with Warner Brothers. So yeah, I always try and do things the right way, go through the right channels and all that kind of stuff nowadays. But yeah, you see some great Terrify merch, man. I've seen some amazing t-shirts, some amazing t-shirt designs. The Art Krispies box is fantastic. So,
Yeah, I love
and
this thing. I got the smaller version, but it's still amazing. So good. It's got like the
yeah,
maze on the back, and it's so good. So good.
every what's cool about that is the exact design from the movie,
That's so
and
yeah,
cool.
no
yeah,
detail is spared. And when you buy it from terrifiershop.com, that money goes right back into A, making the movies, and
mhm,
B, supporting the people who make these movies. And
Mm.
when we make money through the merch shop, we just invest it in more cool merch, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
So it's like you guys buying is like feeding the beasts so we could feed you, you know? And
Yeah.
it's appreciated. And again, great problem to have. I love all of the ideas. We've been approached with some crazy shit. It's a lie, some really crazy shit. And we're just trying to get to the place where we want to be able to make it a turnkey situation, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Exactly.
a lot of stuff that goes into making that happen. So it's happening, but it's happening a little bit slower than everyone would like. Not just you guys, us too. So hang
Yeah.
in there. You know, we're working on it. I know that sounds like a bullshit thing somebody says when people are waiting for something, but we are sincerely fucking working on it, I swear.
Hey, waiting is worth it, especially for a movie like this and seeing all the great stuff that's been coming out.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so, after everything that's happened with Terrifier 2, Steve, is there anything you have in the works right now that's not Terrifier related? Are you currently producing anything or doing anything else like that?
Yes, I am. It's funny. It's like after the success of Terrifier, everybody and their grandmother wanted to work with me. You know, my email box filled up in 3 seconds, and I got a really long memory. And some of these people are people who wouldn't have peed on me if I was on fire.
Yeah.
So fuck them. Uh, I only want to work with the people whom I like and whom I respect. I have a couple of projects in various states of production. One is an anthology film
Oh, hell
with
yeah.
Jed Shepard from Host and Josh Stolberg and David McInerney and Alex Neuer and Sebastian Bazile and Blair Bathory. That's coming up really soon. Production on that should go hopefully start in a couple of months at latest. And I have a couple other projects that are floating around. I have a project with John Schnitzer, who did that incredible fucking documentary about the haunted house industry. And yeah, man, there's a lot of really cool stuff happening. You know, it I'm 50, you know, and that's old as shit. And I don't know who said that was okay. I missed that meeting.
You're still rocking it, man.
Yeah, but I'm at a point now in my life where I know what's important to me. I know who's important to me, and I spent my whole life slaving to be a part of this industry. I've lost everything I could have. I've gained back everything I ever dreamed, and it feels good to be able to say at this part of my life that it wasn't for nothing, you know, because it's really easy to feel like a failure, imposter syndrome. That shit is real,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
And I did Dread Central for 18 years. And when I stopped doing that, I was like, who am I? What am I doing? And I didn't know. And I thought it was over for me, when in fact it was just starting. So you never know
Yeah,
what's going to happen. And
absolutely,
you
man.
don't know what tomorrow holds. So I just want to say for anyone listening, if you love something, if you truly love something and you see that you want to do this more than anything in this world, keep at it, man. Because if this schmuck can make it, and I am a schmuck, ain't gonna lie, then it's possible. You just have to love it and want it enough. And I am lucky to have a couple of projects in production, and I'll always consider myself lucky to be a part of not just this genre, but of this fan base because horror fans are the fucking best.
They
And
really are.
we really fucking know it. No one is more passionate. No one is more, we get such a bad rap, but we're the nicest fucking people in the world,
Very
and
true.
it's just, I just feel very blessed and very happy. And I got to admit, Damien Leone, Phil Falcone, Lisa Falcone, they made a lot of my dreams come true. These movies do not exist without those three people in particular. And God bless them. And I'm grateful they let me be a part of this crazy ride. I don't think I could not have been part of this crazy ride because I would have been flaring up like herpes in their life every time they turned around. But it's been great to be a part of something that feels like a family. And I never really knew where my place in life was. I knew where I wanted it to be. And I'm glad I'm finally there. It took me 50 years to come home, but I'm finally home and I couldn't be happier.
Hard work pays off, man. Hard work pays off. It really, really does.
Great story. Dustin, you've gone all psychedelic again.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, I have a ghost in my house that just does not like cameras. That's just how it is right now. So for everybody watching, sorry.
Late 60s Beatles psychedelia.
I shut off my camera for the people watching right now, but that's.
Oh, this is, dude. You're actually at a good frame. You're smiling.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm just gonna make this my profile picture for everything.
I would.
That's awesome. But yeah, Steve, hard work really does pay off, and I'm so excited to see what else is in the works for you and anybody else that you're working with. Horror is thriving. It's been thriving for a good almost 2 years now. Like last year, really, things got kicked off a lot last year. Starting with a lot of things early in the year that was dropping on Shudder, like Revealer. That movie pushed a lot of boundaries that a lot of people don't talk about that much anymore. But that movie was one of my favorites from last year, just like Terrifier 2. And I can't wait for the future of everything like Terrifier or indie or even, I guess, like studio films. They're starting to kind of turn around a little bit of like,
that's
releasing
another
a little bit.
That's another pleasant side effect of the Terrifier phenomenon is now you see movies saying, "Oh, we're going to be gorier,"
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And
yeah,
that wouldn't have happened.
No.
That definitely wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for because there's some Hollywood exec going, "People want blood, give them fucking blood."
Yeah.
Exactly. In all the meetings, it's that one guy.
If we got that guy bitching, God bless. Good. Get off your fucking ass, man. Let people create art instead of telling them who is anyone to tell anyone else what they should or shouldn't like.
Yeah, I agree, man.
It's crazy. It's fucking nuts. Fuck the MPA. Fuck everybody that judges anyone on any fucking level.
Amen, man.
It's ludicrous, bro. You got to if you're making something, don't tell me. If I'm going to see the Texas Chainsaw fucking Massacre, I know what I'm going to the movies for.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to try to sanitize it for me. It's ludicrous. Let people like what they like. And if you're worried about the kids, parent your children.
Yeah.
Explain to them what they're watching. Explain to them what these movies are. And if you pull back that curtain for them, they're likely to have a blast, But don't inhibit people, because when you inhibit people, you make them want to do the things you don't want them to do more.
Exactly. And being a father, I definitely relate on that. Like I explain everything to him. He's 4. He's going to be 5 next month. He watches some things. He's seen a little bit of Terrifier too. And I explained he loves art, like you were talking about earlier. That kids love art. He loves art, even though he doesn't really know exactly who he is. But it's just the look of him and how like otherworldly and crazy it is. Kids are drawn to stuff like that. They love the things that are so out there because it matches their imagination. Because they have such a wild imagination. And this movie, it has a wild imagination. It goes above and beyond. It pushes and pushes and pushes, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps on going. And seeing other films do that now and pushing boundaries and making people uncomfortable or witnessing things that they thought they would never witness before. Like I was talking earlier about Skinamarink, like that movie really messed me up. And just like how Terrifier 2 messed me up in a way of realizing that I've been missing out, on some things, and now seeing that this movie has allowed other people to be as creative and not being afraid of holding back and being able to let everything out without anybody saying a word. And if they do, they don't care. They're like, I just want to get it out there. And it just makes me really, really happy. And to be, doing a show like this and being able to talk to you and having Dean on here and talking to so many other people in the horror world and filmmakers and actors, it's a dream. And as you were saying, don't stop, keep going. And that's what we're doing. And I'm so for everything else that you're doing and the Terrifier team's doing, the Fuzz on the Lens guys, like they're rocking it, man. You're all rocking it. You really, really are.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Dean, I don't know if you have any last things you want to throw on the board.
Yeah, man. There's just one more thing I wanted to ask you. You did the this is just going back a little bit, the Smodcastle Cinema thing in New Jersey with Kevin Smith. How was that, man? I love Kevin Smith. I met him once and he was the nicest dude ever.
That was the perfect way to cap off this madness.
Yeah.
That was like the final, to us, that was the Oscars,
Right, yeah, man. Yeah.
Getting to sit down with Kevin and bullshit about these movies, it's just another dream come true,
Yeah.
Everything that's happened with this movie has been another dream come true. It's like just chalking another one off the bucket list.
Yeah.
And I left Dread Central after 18 years because I wasn't getting along with them. But more than anything, I helped get Terrifier into the world, and to go out on that note with, getting something released that the fans really liked. I couldn't think of a better note to go out on, and I'm very proud of that. And in no way, shape, or form did I think that decision would have gotten me where I am right now, But it just goes to show you life is unpredictable.
Oh yeah.
And scary, and it could be shitty, but you got to let it be all of those things because it's all part of the ride. And if you just keep your eye on the prize and you keep your head down and you work hard, you're going to get to where you want to be. The only limitations you have on your life are those that you put on them. So you need to let yourself be who you are always, and always be true to yourself. When you watch Terrifier 2, you could see above and beyond anything that this movie was made by horror fans. Everything is right there. You can't miss it. And I think in order for this franchise to stay successful, in order for us collectively to be successful, we all have to be exactly who we are and not compromise and not take a shortcut. Because I could tell you just as plain as there's a nose on my face, man, I've never ever seen a shortcut that was worth it, that led to anything good. It may get you someplace quicker, but it's going to fall apart just as quick. It's better to take the time and lay the foundation and go on the journey than it is to just race down a road,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wise words.
And this has been a blast, Steve. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us, and especially after you taking a little bit of a break and then jumping right back into it. It's awesome to do these types of things and being able to chat with you now and hear more about the backstory on things, and just hearing and feeling your passion for everything. It makes me want to do more as well. And I hope it kind of reaches everybody else out there who's listening or watching and realizing, like, go do something. Pick up a camera. Just go do it. Or write something. Whatever it may be, go do it.
There's a hell of a camera on your phone nowadays.
Exactly. There's so much you can do, and there's no limit. You were saying, like, the only limit that there is really whatever you do to hinder it, or you're too scared to do something, right? This is like the age of taking risks. It really is, because there's consequences if you're doing things stupid or doing something illegal, but like if you're taking smart risks with filmmaking or whatever it is that you're doing in general, do it. Have a buddy, go and do it. If you're afraid to do something alone, get a best friend. That's why I got Dean here. It's not that I'm afraid to do this alone. It's just it's better to do something with somebody. I feel like doing things by yourself is boring. And with the whole team that Terrifier had with Fuzz and Lens, and everybody else that was involved with it, like you could tell everybody was having a blast, and that's what all this stuff is about, is having fun and creating something that people can enjoy. And man, what a time it is to be alive! Like seriously.
Amen.
It's been such a great ride, and I want to keep going on this Terrifier train and getting you on here. I didn't want to stop because we've had almost everybody that was either acting or sort of involved with Terrifier and Terrifier 2 on here, and I just want to keep showing people that you need to love this film or you gotta hate this film, whatever it may be. Just give it a chance. Just watch it, even if it's for 5 minutes, or support it. Buy it for a friend, or buy something from merch, whatever it may be. Support this film so that way they can help create a bigger, crazier film. Because I am so for that. I really, really am. And Steve, I thank you.
I promise.
I really do thank you for championing this series. I guess I can call it now. This little series since the beginning, and showing that this is something. This is something, and everybody needs to see it. So thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And Dean, I don't know if you have any last things you want to throw, unless you're all set, man.
I'm good, man. We can let Steve off the hook. Yeah, it's been a great chat with you, Steve, man. It's really interesting to hear, not just from the actors and Damien and everyone else, just to hear from the teams that, everyone else has been working on it and puts in all their hard work and efforts and passion over the years. You're taking it from, the beginning right up to where it is now, and where you're heading with it in the future. So yeah, it's great to chat to you, man.
It was my pleasure, sincerely.
Yeah, and Steve, you're always welcome on here again to talk about anything, upcoming films. You want to talk about a film? You're welcome. You're part of the family now, man. It's great to have you in the group. This is, I think, Dean, I think this might be our 34th interview in a span of like 5 months.
Damn.
So you're
all the late nights. I've stayed up here in the UK time, till like 2 in the morning. I'm like, it's been worth it, man.
Yeah, it really has. So Steve, thank you for being here, part of the journey, and making this year and last year so worth it, and getting everybody out of their house. That was the main thing. Getting everybody into a theater, supporting theaters. It was great, and thank you for being here. Seriously.
Thank you.
And we'll let Steve off the hook right now, and we'll say goodbyes, and we'll see everybody next time.
Take care.